Loud. Okay, you are good to go.
All right. I think I'm just waiting for someone to connect to audio. I think Jennifer's connecting. Okay, there you go. Okay, hey guys. So my name is Levny. I am the admissions counselor for Texas Tech University. What that means is basically if you're interested in Texas Tech, I'm your go-to person. That way you're not having to like wonder who do you talk to. I would be your designated person. So a little bit about me. I grew up basically here too. I'm from Fort Worth. I live here in Fort Worth. I went to high school in Fort Worth, and then I went to Texas Tech. For me, I'm a first generation student, meaning that I was the first person to go to college from my family and graduate high school. So for me, I had to figure out the whole process by myself. So that's why I love my job now, because I get to help students figure out the process. They have someone there versus themselves trying to figure it out alone. But anyway, so I'm going to jump in. And so my first slide is going to be basically a 30-second video, or probably less than that. And it's just going to give you just a glance at what Texas Tech is, and then I'll jump into Texas Tech. So hopefully the video works. I tried it earlier and it didn't work, so we'll see. Okay. Okay. Oh, I hope you guys liked that video. I love it. Okay, so here is Texas Tech at a glance. Again, just a general overview of what Texas Tech and basically what it consists of. So if you haven't visited our campus, we're a pretty big campus. So as of this week, this number has changed. We have about 40,100 students as 40,116 students as of this week. So we're a pretty big campus. Our student to teacher ratio, though, is still pretty much what you would find in your high school classrooms, except right now because of COVID, right? But in a typical school year, your classes would be about 20 students per one teacher. So that's what our classrooms look like. And then here, I like to touch base on Tier 1 Research University. Basically, it's just a fancy designation that we got. We do a lot of research all across campus, and so we get additional funding for research. So that's pretty unique, not unique, but pretty cool to know if you're interested in that type of opportunities. Here, it's just going to be some of our bragging points. And as you can see, there's quite a few, but I'm not going to place too much emphasis on this because I want to emphasize on the rest of the presentation. But here for Diversity Champion, we are a Hispanic serving institution. So like for me, I'm Hispanic, so it was nice knowing that I was going into university like that. Okay, so Texas Tech, I don't know if you know where Texas Tech is, but if you can see this little map, we're right here, Dallas, Fort Worth. This little star, or the star, is where Texas Tech is located, which is in Lubbock, Texas, and that is West Texas area. So depending on where you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it could be about 4.5 to 5 hours to get to Lubbock. which is awesome. So Lubbock in itself, it's not a small country town. Honestly, it's a pretty big town. We call it the hub city because a lot of like these surrounding places, they come to shop, they come to dine, they come for activities, they come for concerts to Lubbock. So we have a lot of stuff going on. So the way I like to describe it, it's like Dallas Fort Worth, but on a much smaller scale. So you don't have to worry about traffic. That was my favorite thing about there that I missed. But yeah, so as you can see, it's a pretty big city, and most of our students are coming through 300 miles away from home or more. So a lot of the students that we get, of course, Dallas-Fort Worth is our biggest region, but then we have like students coming from New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, New Orleans, and they're really coming from all around the US. We have Texas Tech people that live in California, and then another person lives in Colorado, and then we go to Florida a lot too. So honestly, they're coming from all over the place. So you're potentially getting to make friends that live everywhere. And then in Lubbock, like I said, it offers everything that Dallas Fort Worth offers, just on a smaller scale. So honestly, there's always something going on in the community. And for Texas Tech and the Lubbock community, it's very tight knit. So a lot of the events are not going to be just Texas Tech students and faculty and staff, but it's also like the families that live there. And so it makes it a very unique and friendly environment. Okay, let's talk about tech. Okay, so at Texas Tech, I don't know if you're like me, like whenever I was a high school student, I had no idea what I wanted to do until I actually got to the university and I started figuring out what I wanted to pursue. So here on campus, we have 10 academic colleges. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically like, so you have your university as a whole, and that's like, Texas Tech University. And within that university, you have academic colleges, and those academic colleges house your majors. So let's say you want to go into accounting, then the college for that would be the College of Business. So that's what an academic college is. Basically, it houses all these programs. So we have we have about 150 academic programs. So really, maybe you don't know what you want to do. We probably have a major that's going to fit your interest. At Texas Tech, we have an advising office dedicated to helping students who are uncertain and undecided. They're just dedicated to helping them find a major, based on their interests. And they're happy to set up appointments with anyone, even like high school seniors who might be interested in Texas Tech. So it's really a unique opportunity. We're out here to help you. But okay, so aside from our undergraduate academic colleges, we have a school of law. So if that's something that you're interested in pursuing later on, we have a pre-law designation for students to be a part of throughout their 4 years in college. And we also have we're opening up a school of veterinary medicine. So if you're interested in pursuing vet school, that's going to be available. For us, it's going to open up 2021, like I said. So super exciting things happening on campus. And then if you're interested in the healthcare, like any healthcare related field, we do have a health sciences center that's also located over there in Lubbock. And so like you're pursuing, interested in going to the School of Medicine, that would fit your needs. So really, we really try to create access and opportunity for students, whether it be an undergraduate or postgraduate. And then we also have a graduate school. It's not listed on here, but it's also on campus. Okay, so these are the academic colleges that I was talking about. We have about 10 that basically cater to everyone's interest. Some of our popular ones are going to be the Whitaker College of Engineering. We have about 10 to 11 engineering majors. So really anything ranging from like civil engineering, petroleum engineering, mechanical engineering. We cater to everyone's, whatever they want to pursue. And then another popular college for us is our Ross College of Business. So whether it be accounting, finance, maybe you want to pursue an MBA along with your undergraduate degree, we have that option for you. Another popular one, and this is really for maybe students that want to go into like the School of Medicine or pursue something in the healthcare related field. a lot of these students have a major in College of Arts and Sciences because that's where like our kinesiology is housed in, biology, physics, that's all housed in this college. And so that's another popular college of ours. And then last but not least, if you're interested in going to vet school or pursuing any agricultural sciences and natural resources, this is another big college for us. I myself, I started in the College of Media and Communication, and then I moved to the College of Human Sciences. So as you might hear from other students that they may have changed their major, maybe you know someone that's already in college and they've talked to you about changing majors. And so that's pretty common because you're exploring your interests and then you go there and you might find that you like something else. So for me, I had a pretty simple process changing from one major, which was public relations, to human development and family studies. It was a pretty smooth process. So we have advisors readily available to help you out. Okay, so one unique thing is our honors college. So like I mentioned, Texas Tech is a pretty big campus, but we have an honors college, which basically they like to call themselves a small liberal arts college on a small scale institution. So it just makes your college experience a little bit more intimate. So I say that because the classes are smaller. So our average class is about 20 to 1. Theirs might be about 15. They're smaller, and the way they learn, it's different because they have a lot of discussion type based classrooms, or classes, not classrooms, a lot of discussion based classes. And then they might also be a little bit more writing intensive. So it's not harder to be part of the honors college. It's just different because of a lot of those discussions. And then they offer unique opportunities. Like I would encourage anyone that's interested in like pursuing like healthcare to look into the honors college because they have early acceptance programs. Some of them are going to be, we have an early acceptance pathway into the School of Medicine. Basically, you would apply your junior year. It's very competitive though, but you would apply your junior year. And if you were to get accepted, you could have your MCAT waived, and then you'd have admissions into the School of Medicine. That way your senior year, you're focusing on something else. We also have that for the School of Law. So if people are interested in going to law school, there's an early pathway for you as well. So very unique opportunities. They have their own residence hall where only honor students can stay in that residence halls. You get early registration for all your classes. Right now, it's a little hard to think about study abroad, but on a typical non-COVID year, you would have a lot of study abroad opportunities. And of course, research happens all across campus. So one thing about the Honors College is that you do have to apply to the Honors College. So you would apply to Texas Tech and then you would apply to the Honors College. They're two separate applications. You have to be admitted to Texas Tech to be admitted to the Honors College. Very great opportunity if that's something that you're interested in. Another thing I forgot to mention is that you can be part of the Honors College and then you can be part of like, maybe you want to pursue engineering. It's called dual enrollment. So you'll be part of the engineering department, college, and then the honors college. So really great things happening. Okay, life as a Red Raider. This is my favorite part. Okay, so like I said, you're traveling 4 to 5 hours or 4.5 to 5 hours away from home. So we know that. So a lot of our students don't travel back home like every single weekend. They stay on campus, they stay in Lubbock. So therefore we like to call ourselves, you're gonna have a campus experience. So on campus, there's a lot of things going on. We have over 550 student organizations. So really, this is your opportunity to find hobbies and like to find new hobbies and to pursue your passions that you already have, whether it be maybe you are part of the swim team, you can be part of the swim team, maybe you want to do intramural sports with maybe your like roommate or people in your classroom. So we have those type of things, but then we also have like academic type of student organization. So based on what your major is, there's going to be a student organization. So academic student organizations are really important because it's your chance to build up your resume and it's your chance to network and get your name out there. And then the other types of student organizations, I like to call them social organizations because, you know, they're for fun, explore your interests, like I said. So again, we have so many options available for you. And like, whenever, let's say you were to come to Texas Tech and you're starting the school year, we have a lot of like fairs, like student organizations fairs. And this was my favorite part because you're just like walking from table to table and you get a bunch of free stuff, but then you're also talking to other students about like their student organizations, and they're telling you how to be involved. We also have Greek life, if that's something that you're interested, both fraternities and sororities. We have your typical, you know, there's a, what do you call it? Greek circle where you have all your Greek houses, you know, brotherhood, sisterhood, scholarship, leadership, getting involved with the community. But aside from that, we also have other organizations. On campus, though, for us, you are required to stay on campus your first year because, again, it's a pretty big transition from high school to college. It's really different. So we require students to stay on campus to get used to that transition and to get used to all the resources that are offered on campus, therefore, for you to be successful. So you'll have about, well, not about, it says it on the screen, you have 19 residence halls options. So basically these are your dorm rooms. So like if you see in this picture, there's a little brown, not little, but there's a brown building back here. That's one of our residence halls. So this is how they're gonna look like. And really they vary. You can get like a suite. These are hard to come across though as a freshman because they're really for upperclassmen, but sometimes there's a few available. And then you have like your typical college dorm rooms where, you know, you share the room with one other person. So there's a lot of options for you. On campus dining, where are you going to eat, right? Well, you have 30 plus facilities on campus and you have access to all of these facilities. Every residence hall is going to have some sort of dining facility. And if you're tired of that food, you can go all around campus. We cater to everyone's needs. But you know, we have those popular places like Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, Einstein, Bagels, Fazoli's, and then you have other types of foods. So a lot of great dining places. And if you ever get bored of eating on campus, across campus is a lot of like local type restaurants. So you don't really have to travel far. And then we have a recreation center. If you don't know what a recreation center, it's basically a gym, but it's a big gym. It has like so much equipment type items for you to use. And then they do like dance classes, they do like HIIT classes, CrossFit classes every hour throughout, basically starting morning to evening. So there's always something to do. And then of course we have our own water park. It's called the Lazy River. I personally have been there a couple of times. Sometimes they do like movies out in the evenings where they'll pull out a screen, they're out there swimming or floating, and you know, they have a movie playing. So really fun things happening on campus. And then this last part, it's my favorite part, all about spirit and tradition. And so at Texas Tech, and this varies with different institutions, but for us, you have access to sporting and events, basically to all of our home games and everything happening on campus. You have access to that because it's included in tuition and fees, meaning that all you have to do is show your student ID, they look at it, they make sure it's you, and then you're free to go watch a game. So if you're like me, before I started tech, like I didn't really care about sports, let's be honest. And then when I started, whenever I started going to tech, it's like everyone's out there, like just think you're at a stadium, and everyone's out there cheering for this one team, which is honestly, it's like the best feeling ever, being surrounded by thousands of other people. And so that was one of my favorite, those were some of my favorite experiences on campus. But then we have a lot of fun traditions. And as you, whenever you're looking at colleges, they're all going to have their different, all of their traditions are going to be different, but they're all going to be very fond of them. So I highly encourage you to look at that. Honestly, like I said, I was a student at Texas Tech, so all of these activities were all my favorite activities. And when I think about my college experience, that's what I'm thinking about as well. And like, that's why I want to go back. I wish I could be a student again like you guys, but you know, I can't. But yes. Okay, we'll move on. I got too excited there. Okay, so anyway, so you're coming to college to come out with an outcome, right? You're gonna go to college, you want to get a major to get a job. So how are we gonna support you? So there's a lot of different ways that we're gonna support you. So here we have a university career center. The university career center basically it offers you mock interviews. So just think about you're getting ready to graduate, you're getting ready to start a job, or before you start getting ready to search for a job, the University Career Center will prepare you for that job interview. So basically, it's like you show up to our University Career Center and you meet with someone and they're asking you like typical interview questions. That way, when you have your interview, you're not like caught off guard basically and like you don't know how to answer. So they're going to prepare you and they're going to make sure that your responses are basically good responses. So they host 2 big college fairs, but if your specific college is going to have career fair, wait, I think I said that wrong. So the University Career Center hosts 2 big career fairs, and then your specific college hosts their own specific career fair too. So let's say you're in the College of Ross College of Business Administration. They're going to host their own career fair specifically for business majors. So like if you're in the Whitaker College of Engineering, they're going to host their specific career fair for engineering majors. And then of course you have the big university career fairs. So honestly, there's a lot of opportunities out there to help you find a job, to help you find an internship out there for you. And then my favorite thing about our career center, and I'm sure other universities do this as well, but is that they have a clothing closet. So if you were like me, you're like a senior coming in as a freshman, and I didn't really have like a nice blazer, a nice pair of pants and all of this and shoes, you know, because I just really never needed them throughout high school. And so we have that available for you guys. Obviously, it's cleaned and sanitized and washed after each use, but it's out there for you guys, you know, so you can look well and look presentable. We also partner up with JCPenney, and they offer discounted rates for students to help them buy like a suit and like some nice outfits for those interviews. To prepare you, right? So there's a lot of opportunities available for you guys. One thing I always like to touch on is these resumes and cover letters. So right now, this might not seem important to you, but like junior and senior year, this is gonna be of college. It's gonna be very important to you because this is what you're sending out to different types of employers so they can look at your application and hopefully you get an interview. And so with this, you have access to this. Like let's say you graduated from Texas Tech, you have access to this after you graduate. So like for me, I graduated in 2017. So I've had a few jobs since graduation. So every job that I've started, even like before I started this one, I would always call the career center and have them look over my resume. We were on the phone because obviously I'm not going back to Lubbock for this, but we were just on the phone and we were emailing and the person was reviewing my resume and cover letter. And then they were also like asking me about the job that I'm applying to make sure there's like keywords out there. So this is my all-time favorite thing about having this resource available to me. So because like I can be miles away and they will still help me out, which I think is pretty awesome. Aside from this, I do want to mention, I don't have a slide for this, but we also have if you're a first generation student, basically meaning that you're the first person of your family to go to college, we have a lot of support systems out there for first generation students as well. So we have a whole department that will aid first generation students and make sure that they are that they are going through college successfully and getting them involved. We just got our report and we have about this school year, we have about 3,000 first generation students coming in freshmen. So I thought that was pretty awesome because it keeps growing. Okay, so let's talk about admissions and affordability to Texas Tech. So here, these are going to be some important dates. If y'all don't know about FAFSA, FAFSA basically is if you qualify, the government granting you grants and or loans. Loans you don't have to pay back, grants you do. So FAFSA is available for all U.S. students and all U.S. citizens and permanent residents. And then we have TASFA with the T, and that is available also October 1st, and that's all available for non-U.S. who are Texas residents. So anyways, that is important for you guys. That opens up October 1st, so here in a couple months. Like when I was in school, my mom made sure to like send me a reminder the day before it opened up, because it's opening up. FAFSA opens up for everyone in the U.S. So you want to check with different universities when their deadlines are. But anyways, we sometimes use FAFSA, or we require FAFSA on file. Some scholarships require FAFSA on file just to see, they just want to know that you completed a FAFSA in order to review your scholarship application. So it's not everyone, but some of them do. So that's why I encourage every student, even though you don't think you might qualify, to complete a FAFSA. Again, that opens up October 1st, super important for you guys. And then another deadline, it's not a hard deadline, meaning that you have to have it in by that day. It's a priority deadline, meaning that if you submit it before then, you're up first for consideration. So the fall priority scholarship deadline for us is December 1st. Now, we don't have a separate scholarship application. The application to Texas Tech is your application for admissions, and it also includes the scholarship portion. And sometimes students don't notice that, but it says scholarship on there. But you can't, after you submit your application, you can't go back and edit. So if you're interested, just make sure that you're like answering those questions. They're optional, they're not required, but why not do them, right? Okay, so let's say you are interested in Texas Tech, which I hope you guys all are, but this is how you would apply. So this year, we have two ways for you to apply. We have the Apply Texas application, and then we have the Common App application. If you haven't heard of the Common App application, most out-of-state schools use this. So for us, you would submit one or the other. Honestly, there's not a preference. They're both exactly kind of the same, just a different format. So whichever one you'd like to submit. And then we do have an application fee. Most schools are going to have an application fee. Ours is $75, or you can request a fee waiver. I want to touch base on the fee waiver though, because we do things a little different and other institutions might do things a little different. So like for us, we don't accept outside fee waivers, meaning that we're not going to accept like ACT, SAT, NACAC fee waivers. Because we do our own in-house fee waiver. So in order to be eligible for a fee waiver, there's two ways to go about this. Students can submit their FAFSA to us, and like note, Texas Tech is one of their universities, and we will use that information to see if you're eligible for a fee waiver. Or we also have our own separate PDF format of a fee waiver request. And I encourage students to do that because obviously FAFSA is not open right now. So anyways, I send students the fee waiver request, they fill it out, and then they provide, there's about 10 options it gives you. And based on the option that you select, you have to submit an additional document. So once you submit all of this, one of our processors will review this and make sure that you're eligible for a fee waiver, and then they'll let you know whether it's approved or denied. So a lot of the applications that come in, like sometimes we'll have like, not all of them, but sometimes like we have all the documents in and the student requested a fee waiver, but they just never filled out the paperwork, so we can never process that application. So like, that's what I say, if you're interested in a fee waiver, make sure that you submit that document in so your application can be complete. Another thing we require is your high school transcripts. They don't have to be official, and they could be unofficial for now. And then as long as your high school transcript has all of your grades to the end of your junior year, it's okay to submit that. It's okay if you don't have your senior grades because you don't have them right now. And then this year we are test optional, meaning that as you're applying, there's a question that asks you, do you want to submit your test scores for admission purposes, or do you not want to submit your test scores and just have your application reviewed with everything except the test scores? Honestly, we know COVID hit. We know testing has been, it hasn't been very available to you guys. So if you're able to take the test, great. If you weren't able to take the test, we have this option available for you guys. So ultimately, the choice is up to you. And maybe you took the test and you don't feel like those test scores reflect who you are, then don't submit them. You can apply test optional. And so again, it's completely up to you. Now, there's a couple ways you can get into Texas Tech. One being if you were to submit your test scores. So if you were to submit your test scores, we have assured admissions, basically meaning if you meet these requirements, you're automatically admitted to the university. And so the way this works is it depends on your high school class rank. And then after that, we look at your test scores. So let's say your second quarter, you would need either a 26 or a 1240, not both. It would just be one or the other. Let's say you took multiple tests, hopefully, or you plan on taking the test multiple times. We do super score, basically meaning that we will take the highest scoring section out of all your tests to combine them to make it a higher score. And then if you're top 10%, you're automatically admitted. But let's say your second quarter, but you made a 24, not a 26. Then basically your application goes through application review. And what that means is that we're looking at your entire application, everything that you've been involved with inside with high school, outside of high school. Maybe you volunteered somewhere, maybe you worked somewhere, maybe you had to be taking care of your siblings because you had to look out for them. And then we're also looking at the diversity of your experience and background. Basically, whenever we're talking about this is like if you submit an essay or letters of recommendation. For us, essays aren't required, resumes aren't required. Check with other institutions because they might require them though. But for us, I highly recommend students though to submit an essay and to submit at least one letter of recommendation, up to 3. The reason for that is because honestly, your application only tells us so much about you, right? Most of the application is yes, no, and then you list some activities. So your essay is your opportunity to tell us more about yourself and tell us more about what you want the review committee to consider. So really, this is a time for you to be open. Honestly, I tell students that this is not a time, your essay is not your resume. So your essay, you shouldn't be like, oh, I was involved here. I did this activity and that activity, and I got this award and that award. I say not to do that because you already listed all that in the application. So it's already there and we're already going to look at that. So your essay should be something different, maybe a challenge that you had or a very unique opportunity that you had throughout high school. Sometimes these essays, I love essays, and sometimes the essays will make me cry because sometimes students like are really raw and like really open up to you. And honestly, it's just going to be us looking at that essay, but whatever you're comfortable with, obviously. But yeah, there's some helpful tips on writing a college essay. I will say though, this is what, if you apply test optional, meaning that you don't want your test scores to be considered as part of admissions, this is what your application review will look like. We just won't look at your test scores, but we're looking at everything else. So this kind of talks about test optional again. So you're gonna have 2 options to answer this question. One is for admissions, which we just talked about. The other question is gonna be for merit scholarships. Now, merit scholarships, it's gonna ask you, do you want your test scores to be considered for the merit scholarship, or do you want it not to have test scores considered for the merit scholarship? So the choice is up to you. Again, you might apply test optional, meaning you don't want your scores to be considered for admission, but you might be like, hey, but I actually want my test scores considered for scholarship purposes only. So again, we're trying to work with you the best way that we can. So the choice, again, it's completely up to you. I do like to tell students, so if you've been involved in like taking college classes, maybe you did dual credit, to submit that college transcript. So the way you have to do it is like you have to reach out to that institution where you took those college classes and let them know to send us a college transcript. That way we can consider that for credit. Well, not for credit. That way we consider that for admissions purposes as well. And then a lot of students have been submitted resumes. If you have one, go ahead and submit it. If you don't, it's okay. You're already listing all your activities in the application. But anyways, I hope that was helpful. Letters of recommendation, again, completely optional, but I encourage at least one, but you can do up to 3. Oh, and then let's talk about letters of recommendation. So really, this is just general wherever you're applying. So for letters of recommendation, try not to get like a friend or a parent or a family member. Try to get like a teacher, a coach. Maybe you volunteered somewhere. Maybe you volunteered somewhere. Maybe you have a job like your boss or your counselor. Maybe your counselor knows you very well, or maybe you've interned somewhere. Those are the type of people that we want to see in a letter of recommendation. Okay, so let's talk about tuition. So I know you see this number, but this is not what tuition is. Let's break it down. Okay, so we're looking over here at the Texas and border counties. We're not from New Mexico or Oklahoma, so we're not going to worry about this. So tuition and fees and room and board, these first 2, that's what you're going to be billed for by the university. You're not going to be billed for these other 3. These are just estimates of what you might expect. So, but let's break it down. So tuition and fees, it's about $11,600 for the entire year, meaning you're going to be taking 5 classes in the fall, which equal 15 credit hours, and then 5 classes in the spring, which equal 15 credit hours, totaling to 30 credit hours. So this is what we're estimating here. Now, the way tuition and fees works is basically you'll pay half of this in the fall and half of it in the spring. Now for room and board, we have 19 residence halls. So really you can choose a more expensive option, or you can choose a lesser or a more cheaper option. So this can vary depending on what you want from your residence hall and what kind of meal plan you want. But the way this typically works when we're talking about billing is that room and board is billed 60% in the fall and 40% in the spring. So ultimately, what I'm trying to say is that you're not going to be paying all this up front. And then when you get your bill, it's financial aid and scholarships are applied first. If you accepted any loans, those are applied. And then the rest is what you're, the remainder that you have to take care of. Now you can do that. Sorry, I'm at home too. So sorry, I'm at home too. So anyways, so the way it works, yeah, financial aid's applied first, any loans is applied, you get the remainder, and then after that, you can either pay that in full or do like a payment plan where you would pay like September, October, November, December. I don't want to say that all universities do it like this because I'm not sure, but this is just how we do it. And then books and supplies, okay, so I never spent that much money. So this is what it estimates it to be for an entire year. But honestly, I think I spent like maybe 200 to 300 bucks on books and supplies. So really the key to this, and you'll learn this when you go to college, really wherever you want to go, you'll learn the way to like keep this low is to rent your books, to buy them used. Sometimes students will post their books for sale. I know I sold my books with like notes and everything after I was done with the class. And then most of the time I kept my books just because I wanted to. But anyways, that's the key. So I never spent that much money. Maybe if you're buying every single book brand new, but yeah, don't buy them brand new. And then transportation, this just means, are you going to be traveling at home every single weekend? Probably not. So that's what transportation, we're estimating like cost travels and all that stuff. But on campus, I mean, you could bring your own car on campus. If you have one, you totally can, or you really don't have to. So we have buses that go all over campus. I used to ride them whenever I was a student. It would take me to my student apartment, and then it would take me to campus. It also takes you to Walmart too. So we have that available for you on campus. Personal and miscellaneous things. Basically, if you want to buy snacks, maybe go to the movies, do some sort of stuff like that. This is what it's estimating. But we have a lot of events on campus too, though, that are already included in your tuition and fees. So you don't like have to pay for anything on campus. Okay, so this is, I know I talked about merit scholarship. So this is if you were applying not applying, but this is if you want your test scores considered with your scholarships. For scholarships, there you go. So this is the Presidential Merit Scholarship. Basically, again, this is the combination of class rank and test score. So if you were to keep taking the test here and the next few testing dates that are coming up, you could, again, we do super score, so we'll be taking the highest scoring section out of all your tests to get you into a greater score. So you could potentially send all those test scores for consideration for this scholarship in particular. So if you were to get this scholarship, you get it for the next 4 years, as long as you maintain your GPA each year at Texas Tech. Again, this is just merit scholarship. So our other merit scholarship, which is, yeah, I guess it's not listed on here because the way that the test optional merit scholarship, we call it the Matador scholarship. So again, if you were in that scholarship question, if you were to be like, hey, I don't want my test scores considered for scholarship purposes, the way that works is like we review your application and make a scholarship consideration. So that's why it's not really listed on here, because we would have to review your entire application to make a scholarship recommendation. So again, this one's the Presidential Merit Scholarship if you want to apply with test scores for scholarship purposes, and then the Matador Scholarship is the test optional scholarship for merit purposes. I hope all that makes sense. But you do have until June 1st of, I guess, next summer, June 1st, to basically take the test as many times as you want. And you have until June 1st to turn in all those test scores to get either a Presidential Merit Scholarship or a higher scholarship. Now, I mentioned that Texas Tech application has a scholarship questionnaire as part of our admissions application. Now that one, that gets sent out to different departments across campus. So that one's for like general scholarship purposes. So all the different departments across campus will review that part. We don't review it, the other departments do. I want to talk about Red Raider Guarantee because I think this is an amazing program, again, bringing access and opportunity to students. So if you're a new first-time student, a freshman student, it's okay if you have college credit, you're still a new first-time student, a freshman. Or if you're a transfer student, meaning you already graduated high school, you went somewhere else and you're a transfer student to Texas Tech with an associate's degree. And if you, obviously you complete the FAFSA and TASFA, you're a Texas resident, and if your family makes less than $65,000 annually, so per year, you can qualify to have your tuition and fees covered by grants and scholarships. So again, all about access and opportunity. I think this is a great program. The key to this program is, though, if you think you might qualify for this, it's to apply early, because this one does have a deadline, and that deadline is January 15th. So you do have to be admitted to the university, and you have to have a complete financial aid file. So that's why I emphasized FAFSA and TASFA earlier, because it's super important. So with this one, this is where sometimes it breaks my heart, because students apply, they get admitted, but they never complete their financial aid file, or they're missing a document, and when they finish it, it's past January 15th, and then they ask about this program and they don't qualify anymore because they missed that deadline. So let's say you were to get admitted, you submit a financial aid file. Sometimes financial aid requests a document from you, and a student doesn't check their email and they miss this deadline. So if you get admitted, you think you might qualify for this, keep checking your email in case you need to submit something else to financial aid. But again, January 15th, so apply early, because sometimes documents can take about 3 to 4 weeks, so they can take about a month to be added to your file, and they have to be in your file by January 15th. And last, we're getting near the end. So we have, if you were to apply to Texas Tech, we have an application portal for you. This is going to be used to check your application status, to upload any documents, meaning like you want to upload your unofficial high school transcript, your essays, any letters of recommendation. This is where you would do it. And then this is me. Again, I'm going to be your point of contact. If you're interested or curious about Texas Tech, here is my email. We haven't started campus visits back up, hopefully by the end of this month. But if you ever have the opportunity to go visit campus and go tour it, I highly recommend it. I can tell you about Texas Tech all I want, but really you going campus and experiencing that, it's like a whole nother level. So if you have the opportunity, go ahead and do that. But if not, we're doing virtual campus tours. So I think most of your universities, wherever you're applying, should be doing virtual campus tours. Take advantage of that. Get to know a little bit more about the university. But anyways, this is all I have for you guys today. Thanks for joining me. Again, there's my email if you need anything. But if y'all can ask me questions if y'all have questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But if not, thank you guys.